There's a developing story out of San Francisco for you this morning. Police there investigating a shooting on Interstate 280. California Highway Patrol saying that there are multiple victims in this shooting. It is not known if it could have been a road rage incident or what is behind that gunfire. 6:15 in the morning in San Francisco, so it's early. Sun is not yet up. Keep it right here. We'll bring you the latest details as they come into America's newsroom.
People of Hawaii are paying the price now for decades of failed leadership in this country, a failure to directly negotiate to prevent us from getting to this point. I've been calling for President Trump to sit across the table from Kim Jong-un without preconditions, work out the differences, figure out a way to build this pathway towards denuclearization.
Hawaii Democratic Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard blaming the false ballistic missile warning from the weekend on President Trump, as well as decades of failed leadership, calling for the president to meet immediately and directly with Kim Jong-un. Let's bring in Governor John Sununu, former governor of New Hampshire and former White House chief of staff to President George H.W. Bush. Governor, thanks for coming on this morning.
Morning, Sandra.
Well, you just heard Gabbard. She says she thinks that the president's not taking the threat from North Korea seriously. Is he?
Yeah. Look, that's another dumb statement by a politically motivated Democrat. What could she possibly think the talking points for such a meeting would be? And when she refers to failed leadership over the decades, the problem started when the Clinton administration had direct conversations with the North Koreans and then gave them the food and the money that allowed them to develop this nuclear program. The only people with economic leverage against the North Koreans are the South Koreans, the Chinese, and to some extent the Russians. Those are the ones that have to engage in the conversation. There's going to be a conversation between the South Koreans and the North Koreans, and the South Korean president gives President Trump full credit for having catalyzed that meeting. But let me address a broader issue here. You're going to see in 2018 a constant flow of dumb political statements by the Democrats attacking everything the president says without ever coming up with substantive ideas or policies. And I just suggest people put this in that column of another effort by the Democrats to run in 2018 merely by criticizing the president.
You know, and to be fair, she didn't just slam the president. She did to slam decades of failed leadership when it comes to North Korea. She is saying that the president should absolutely and immediately sit down with the leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un. Is that a good strategy?
Makes no sense. No, it makes no sense. We have no economic leverage over them. The ones that have the economic leverage are the Chinese, the South Koreans, and to some extent the Russians. And she has no idea what she's talking about.
So as far as this controversy over what he said or did not say in this Wall Street Journal interview, Governor, I'm sure you've seen and heard the controversy by now. John Roberts played both sound from the Wall Street Journal as well as the White House in that interview, and it is hard to decipher, but the president is saying he should be taken at his word, and he said, I'd probably have a good relationship with Kim Jong-un. The Wall Street Journal quoted him as saying, I probably have a good relationship. What do you make of all of this?
I think it's interesting that the sound the Wall Street Journal put out, they eliminated, they did not include the predicate, the beginning phrases that introduced that statement by the president. And in the context of those what was said ahead of that in terms of the questions they asked and his responses, it is perfectly consistent to understand that the president said, I''D would probably have a good relationship with him. So I think the Wall Street Journal is wrong on this one. And as much as I criticize the president at times for some of the things he says, I think on that one, I think he's right on.
There is a Democratic Congresswoman, Frederica Wilson, now changing topics here. She's coming out as the fourth lawmaker now, Governor, to say she's going to boycott the president's first State of the Union address, which is coming a short time from now, over his alleged remarks last week involving some countries, including Haiti. She said that she said the president demeaned the presidency on his remarks about Haiti, El Salvador, and several African countries. She said his comments were racist and incendiary.
Yeah, who cares whether she goes to the State of the Union address or not?
Well, she joins another group of lawmakers who say they're gonna sit this one out. In addition,
we're up to 4.
There were up to 4. I'm asking you about it because clearly they're trying to make a statement here, and we do have other Democratic lawmakers who plan to make statements in other ways by protesting the speech, such as wearing black to show their support for victims of sexual misconduct. This is going to be the president's first State of the Union address, and we're still a time away from then. We have to see how things change, but this is a statement that some Democratic lawmakers are choosing to make.
Sandra, this is consistent with what I just said, that this is their strategy in 2018. Take anything trivial, anything significant, never put out an alternative policy statement, never discuss the issues, just attack the president. And you're going to see more and more of it, and we shouldn't be surprised. It's really their agenda that they have sat down behind closed doors in meetings, discussed amongst themselves, and this is what they have concluded will be their key to winning congressional seats, House seats, and Senate seats in 2018. It's time the Republicans in Congress started calling them out on all of these things and start pointing out to the American public that the Democrats really don't want policy passed this year. They just want to create chaos.
And we'll see how that all goes with this being a big week with that deadline to fund the government. We'll just see how much they butt heads as we move through these few days. Thank you very much, Governor, for coming on this morning.
Thanks, Sandra. Have a great day.
Crews are now scrambling to clear the debris as another storm is threatening California after those devastating and deadly mudslides killed at least 20 people. We'll have a live update from the ground.
Plus, heart-stopping surveillance video shows a speeding car hitting a median and then goes flying in the air. Wait until you see.
Dynamic performance.